And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae, and we are on week 2, part 2 of our series for this month. Power versus Lord, where am I at? Power versus authority. And this week's subtopic is and conformity. So on Monday night we talked about conformity. Let me see. Hold on, I put it somewhere, y'all. I'm everywhere. I've been on 2 business Zoom meetings before this, and my head is just exploding right now. But we are moving on power versus authority and conformity for this week. My Facebook family, my Facebook viewers on tonight, somebody contacted me prior to this and told me that Facebook, I don't know how they did it, but they have it to where only my friends can see this, not the public. So I am going to try to manage this very quickly to see how I can get the public to see this. And I don't even see on here how I can do this. Let me manage this again. See if I can manage it to where they can see it. But this is something, these social media sites is a mess. Where they have got it to where only people that know me can see. My friends can only see this on Facebook. Let's see. Let me put it on public. Okay, got it on public. I think I got it on public. I think I got it, guys. I think I got it. Hopefully I got it on public now. Somebody that's watching on Facebook, please let me know if you can see that it's on public view instead of private or just with friends. But it looks like Facebook have been making their own decisions concerning my post, I guess, on Facebook. So let's move this on. Good evening, my Instagram family, my Facebook family, my YouTube family, my TikTok family, my LinkedIn family, my Snapchat family, my Threads family, and it's something else. There's someone else. But good evening. I said TikTok. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to see you all. Arthur, Gabrielle, it's so good to see you all. Okay, we're going to move this along. You all know that I have acquired my degrees from Ashford University. This is my website disclaimer. I'm not going to read it. I will magnify it so you can see it. Then we're going to go from here. Again, I've acquired my degrees from Ashford University. This is my bio. And I am a Christian counselor. Let me open this very quickly. I'm going to read my scripture that I've been using for the last year, which I believe it just fits every topic that I'm talking on. Y'all see my Jesus plus therapy equals healing. I stand on that. So the scripture for the year has been Deuteronomy 31:6, the NIV version. Strong and courageous, do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So again, we've been talking about power versus authority, our subtopic for this week, and conformity. Okay, and again, like I said on Tuesday night, we've all been there where we've all conformed to different things at some point in our lives. A lot of times we've conformed to other people's the ways that they are. A lot of times it started when we were children because we wanted to be a part of the crowd. We wanted to be accepted. We wanted to be liked. All right. So we have all at some point in our lives experienced some form of conformity. All right. So let's open up our key points for tonight, and then I'm going to read them. So our key points for tonight is the eternal challenge of conformity pressure, conformity, good or bad. Number 3 is conformity pressure is especially powerful during adolescence, like I was saying earlier. Number 4 is the science of conformity. We talked a little bit about that on Tuesday night with Dr. Aksh. I'm saying it wrong, but it's ACSH, Aksh. I believe that's it. And then, of course, our takeaway and our quote. So we're going to move this on because 30 minutes is going to come and go quickly. Let me open this up very quickly so y'all can see this. All right, and here we go. So the eternal challenge of conformity. This theory is by And it says the inability to resist conformity pressure can have tragic consequences. This is by Dr. Frank T. McAndrew, who is PhD. He's a PhD. Okay, and Frank McAndrew is the Cornelia H. Dudley Professor of Psychology at Knox College. A lot of us have heard about Knox College. Okay, and so hey Cole, I think that I got it back on. You let me know what you see, but I believe I put it back on public versus having it private. So let me know if you see it on if it says public view now. Okay. Thank you again for letting me know. I had no idea that that I was I guess put on punishment and put on for private viewers. So good to see you, Cole. Okay, so let's move this on. So again, this theory is by Dr. Frank McAndrew, PhD of Cornelia H. Dudley, Knox College. So let's talk about some stories about conformity and how they're all over the news these days. We are seeing this left and right, how people are just going along to get along. Okay, that's the easy way to say it. Hi, Ivy. How you doing? Who's that? Ivy boy, it's me, Joshy. Hey, Josh, I miss you too. You said you 20? Okay, Joshy, I'm going to try to call you after this, okay? So I'm going to try to call you after this, Joshy. Happy early, belated birthday. He said, I definitely want to come out and see. Oh, I know I would love to see you, Josh. Oh, my gosh. So glad to see my nephew. He's 20. Okay. So let's talk about, like they're saying, these stories about conformity are all over the news these days. And then the question is being asked, why would several police officers go along with the actions of a fellow officer who is killing a man in broad daylight while bystanders are filming this tragedy? Why do most people in some places wear face masks? Why do most people in other locations don't? Okay, conformity is a very subtle but form of social influence. So usually those around us are not giving us orders or making explicit requests that we act a certain way, but their behavior communicates a set of expectations and social norms that we find hard to resist. Now, I'm glad that Dr. Frank is saying we, because like I said earlier, we all, I miss you too, Jalen. I miss you too. We all have at some point in our lives have conformed to our new group, social group, or even a relationship that we are now in or something like that. So now let's ask the question, because this is a good question to ask. Let me open it up really quick and then we're going to go right back. And okay, I was moving too slow again, guys. It's me. Conformity, is it good or is it bad? So let's dive into that. Conformity, is it good or is it bad? So in individualistic societies like the United States, where we live, conformity is often thought of as a negative thing. As Americans, we compete to stand out in some way and to trumpet our uniqueness in the world, and in novels and in movies. So the conformist corporation man in the gray flannel suit is more often portrayed as an object of ridicule or pity than as a heroic figure. So in other words, we aspire to be non-conformist, just like everybody else. So collectivist societies, on the other hand, place a higher value on conformity and see it as a virtue rather than as a vice. And indeed, supporting shared social norms and minimizing deviations from them may help coordinate the group's response to external threats, such as the pandemic and natural disasters. And let's face it, we like predictability in those around us. Erratic individuals who are loose cannons are usually not our first choice. So when it comes to business partners, mates, or comrades in arms during times of conflict, Being accepted by your group and having a reputation as a good citizen has always been a valuable commodity. And what better way to demonstrate this than by openly embracing and conforming to the norms that the group deems important? All right. So, again, and this is talking about, is conformity good or is it bad? Okay, so research. Hey, Leisha, how you doing? Good to see you. So research has repeatedly and convincingly confirmed that non-conformists are rejected and ostracized by groups in laboratory experiments as well as in everyday life, and that this rejection is painful and aversive for the non-conformists. So again, we just opened up a little bit about, is conforming, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And again, like I said, we have all conformed in some kind of way at some point in our lives, whether it's when we were children or adults or both. Because I can honestly say that I have been in situations where I have conformed both as an adolescent and as an adult. And then it's not always in a bad way. And then I remember, let me give you a great example. So y'all know I'm from New York. New Yorkers, most people know that New Yorkers are late. They have the saying that New Yorkers will be late to their own funerals. Okay, like one thing you're not gonna be is on time if you're a New Yorker. And I always say a lot of the times the reason why we're late with certain things is because the travel. If you live in the city part of New York, it is hard to travel. You can get out 2-3 hours early, almost depending on where you live, and you can be stuck in traffic so long until you will be late getting where you need to go. So you almost have to take public transportation to get where you're going on time. But God forbid if that public transportation breaks down. Because if something happens with the public transportation, then you have to wait for something else to come, or you got to walk, or you got to do something. So, me being a native New Yorker, I was one of the people that was always late and then often unprepared. I remember going to we were being booked out. My sisters and I, the Price sisters, were being booked out, and we were hired to go and sing. We held a concert out in Boston at their Shrine Theater. And when we got there, now, of course, we were teenagers. So we were still minors up under the tutelage of our mom at the time. When we got there a couple of hours late. The concert had already started. We was the headliners. We got to Boston late due to whatever. When we got to Boston, then we still had to try to find a store to go buy some knee highs or stockings. Okay. That was a valuable lesson for me, because when we finally got to that Shrine Theater, the person that hired us out, we got up now, we sang. We was on the same bill as Charisma. It was a Christian group called Charisma from upstate New York. They was bad. They was a family too. And we had a wonderful end of concert. It was a bang by the time we got there. But the person that hired us out got up and rightfully had words and said, it's one thing to get caught in traffic. You can't help that. But it's another thing to get to where you're going and be unprepared. And you have to go and find a store to buy stockings and stuff. That was a valuable, embarrassing moment for me. That taught me at age 16. That taught me that I've never, ever wanted to be put in a position like that ever again. And no matter what, for me to make sure that I prepare ahead of time, conformity, to prepare ahead of time. So if I'm being booked out to do something, I make sure that I have my ducks in a row. I'm telling you, I was 16, and that was embarrassing. I was old enough to understand what was going on and how we were at fault for that. Excuse me. Yeah, we were all at fault, although our parent was, the parent at the time. because my foundation at the time, Alicia said they were telling the truth. Yes, they was. And that was a valuable lesson for me. Like I said, that taught me from then on to be prepared. If I'm going to sing, I better have everything I need in order before that time. And so I can, when I get to where I'm going, you can't help being stuck in traffic. And especially living in big cities like New York and LA and California. But you can help, you can help certain things. And being prepared was one of the things that I learned, I conformed to, was making sure that I had my knee highs, my stockings, whatever, had everything prepared. So when I was going to sing, that my stuff was together. And to this day, I prepare my stuff for work and everything else. I prepare for the week ahead of time. I know Monday's coming. I have already today prepped my breakfast for next week. I'll be prepping my lunch tomorrow for next week, and my clothing for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It will be prepped for the weekend and next week, all the way down to the undergarments and my jewelry, because I'm telling you, embarrassing moments have taught me how to conform into being a more responsible, a more reliable person. So this is what he is talking about. Conformity pressure is especially powerful during, and it says, adolescence. Now, I was a teenager when this happened, but I'm telling you, it taught me. Good evening, everybody. W2 Samuel over there. So now Dr. Frank is saying conformity pressure can be especially intense during our teen years. Hello, what did I just say happened when I was 16? During our teen years. And evolutionary psychologists have explained why this may be the case. As far as scientists can tell, our prehistoric forebears lived in relatively small groups where they knew everyone else in a face-to-face, long-term way. But most people would live out their entire lives in that same group. This was years ago. Alicia said, now that's how you do it. Yes, ma'am. Oh, when I say embarrassment, what is it, the old saying, experience is a good teacher? Embarrassment is a good teacher. That form of embarrassment, I couldn't even hardly sing through the first two songs. I was so embarrassed behind what he said. I'm not saying I was the only one that was embarrassed out of the Price sisters and my mother. But I know I was embarrassed behind that. And that experience taught me, like he said, in teen year, I was 16. When that taught me how to be prepared. Okay. So Dr. Frank said it's and one social standing within it was determined early on during adolescence. So how much one was admired as a warrior or hunter? I'm going to skip down to this. So in our modern world today, even though one can move off to a new place or new places and start over, the psychological buttons that get pushed in the adolescent brain make the importance of their social lives override everything else. What did I just share with you all about what happened to me when I was 16 years old and was going to another state? Because I was born and raised in New York, but the Price sisters, we were booked out. And so we went to adjoining states and we did concerts and we sang when I was growing up. We were heading to Boston, and what I shared with you all about that embarrassing but teachable moment for me, okay, with not being prepared with and being late for a concert that we was headlining, okay? Oh my gosh. All right, so Dr. Frank was saying again, popularity with peer groups can become an obsession, which we've seen a lot of us who are adults. We've seen this with our own children. You know, I remember saying to a few of mine, I think I said to all three of mine at some point, that I don't even know who you, I don't recognize you. I don't know who you are because you're not the same person that I taught, that I raised growing up. What is going on here? You know, and I'm like, what is happening here? You're not the same person who I taught you to be. You know, so this is what Dr. Frank's theory is talking about. He said popularity with peer groups can become an obsession. since it is the people in their age group or their cohorts against whom will be ranked forever. So after all, our adult status primarily depends upon how you stack up comparisons to them, not to others. So also strong conformity pressures ensure that you do not stray too far from the group's values. So whatever group that you may be in, you don't stray too far from the things that they do. So we know that vaping at one point was really, really, really the thing to do. So if you're with a group of peers that vape all the time or you smoke them e-cigarettes, you may not have done it initially, but some people may conform to start doing it. And they start smoking them e-cigarettes or start vaping and stuff like that. So that's just an example of what Dr. Frank was talking about. So ostracism from the group in prehistoric times was tantamount to a death sentence. So back in the days, if they ostracized you, they and how they was going to do, they was either going to kill you or they was going to put you out the village. All right. So consequently, our teenage selves labor long and hard to cement our inclusion in whatever type of groups that they are. So Dr. Frank is talking about conformity pressure is especially powerful during adolescence and teen years. And he just talked about in a group setting. Okay, I gave y'all a more personal, teachable conformity moment for me, which was actually a good conformity, because before this we were talking about is conformity good or bad. Well, that embarrassing moment was a good conformity for me because it's something that has stuck with me throughout the rest of my adult years, how to be prepared. Okay, so now we're moving into the science of conformity. And again, y'all remember, this is an open platform. You all are more than willing to give examples if you want or ask questions. Okay, so conformity, good or bad. See, I'm moving so fast until, let me see. Let's open this up. Powerful adolescence. Okay, I need to move one more. Here we go. This is where we are now. The science of conformity. The science of conformity. All right. So again, this is Dr. Frank's theory. All right, and I enjoyed researching and learning about his theory. And his theory is just an add-on to Dr. Ash's theory, who I talked about on Tuesday, who did an experiment back in the 1950s. Okay, so now we're talking about the earliest laboratory studies on conformity was conducted by social psychologist Muzaffar Sharif in the 1930s. And at that time, it was believed that we are most likely to conform in situations where it is unclear exactly what is going on. And so we follow the leader of the lead of other people. Sharif used something called the autokinetic effect to demonstrate that this was true. So when we view a pinpoint of light in a darkened room, the light appears to be moving even though it is not. Sharif discovered that the judgments made by his research participants regarding how much the light was moving were swayed quite easily by the judgments made by other participants. So whoever said something first, they agreed with it. Yes, sometimes we conform because we think that others know something that we don't. And a lot of times that's why people conform, because they feel like somebody is smarter than they are. But it's okay to sit there, and thank God for our smartphones now. Thank God we have smartphones, because if it's something that we're not sure of, we can easily research something on our own and come up with an answer, so we don't have to readily agree with somebody else. That's the good thing about living in this day and time right now. But Dr. Sharif, he was saying, however, the pioneering work of social psychologists, who I talked about on Tuesday, Solomon Asch, showed that we frequently conform even when we know that the group leader is incorrect. See, that's all this stuff that we are seeing on the news now, how we see a lot of people, they're going along just to get along. Going along just to get along. They know that somebody is wrong, But because the person has money, influence, and power, they just want to be a part of that circle. So they're going to go along just to get along. And that's what Dr. Ash was talking about. So with that, the question is that type of conformity good or bad? Okay. So, So in Ash's studies, individuals had to make very simple judgments about the length of lines, and most people gave the wrong answer whenever all of the other participants who were actually in cahoots with the experimenter gave the wrong answer. So they probably had the right answer, but because everybody else gave the wrong answer, they just went along with it. Oh my God, that is a bad form of conformity. You'd rather be wrong just to be a part of the crowd than be right and stand alone. Go along just to get along. Okay? And then at some point in your life, you get too old to be doing stuff like that. Okay? All right. So now, Dr. Ash's results highlighted the difference between informational conformity. We talked about that on Tuesday night. Informational conformity, once again, is going along with the group because where am I at? Because you think others know more than you do. And then normative conformity. In normative conformity, we go along with the group even when we know that the group is wrong. Okay, now that's twice. Okay, so the first one, informational conformity, is going along with the group because you think people know more than you. The second one with normativity is going along with the group, knowing that they're wrong, but you just want to be accepted. Okay, so either way, they want to be accepted by the group. Either way, okay, and because they simply want to avoid hassles and discomfort, they come from being they just want to be a part of the group. That's it. Now, okay, so I'm trying to see my different people. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? How you doing, Debbie? All right, so now we're going to talk about subsequent conformity research. All right, let me move this along, make sure that I'm on the right page, y'all. Nope, see, let me go back. Okay, let me go back. Subsequent conformity research. So this has uncovered a wide range of factors that predict who is most likely to conform, and in which situations the force of conformity pressure is strongest. So a full listing of these factors is beyond the scope of this essay, but I would like to emphasize the fact that conformity pressure is most strongly felt when one is a part of a cohesive group. So the group need not to be large, and after a group reaches about 4 or 5 individuals, increasing the size of the group even more does not significantly increase conformity pressure. So it doesn't have to be a large group in order for someone to conform. You know, it could be 2 or 3 people actually. Now let's talk about cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is often a good thing in groups, but the pressure to present a unified front and to maintain harmony in the group can be disastrous. And when police officers or politicians stick together on decisions when they clearly should not. This is the psychology underlying the phenomenon of group thinking, and that has wreaked havoc in decision-making groups throughout the human history. Now, I wanted to give a final example about cohesiveness with this, and even subsequent conformity. I talked about last week. There's a new movie on a new series on Netflix called The Four Seasons. Guys, I am enjoying this. It gives you different scenarios with different couples. It talks about, even with this conformity, even when you know it's wrong, you see these very, very, very adult people conforming in these situations, even when they know that it is wrong. Certain things are wrong. And I don't want to give away the series. If you get a chance to watch it in a little bit of your free time, like a lot of times I can sit back and watch it when I'm getting my nails done. or something like that. That'll give me about an hour to start watching something because I don't have a lot of free time. But that's when I like to watch. It's called The Four Seasons on Netflix. Oh my gosh! And this month I'm talking about Power versus Authority. This week is Conformity, and Conformity, man, that's 4 seasons. Alicia said I'm too old to be going doing with the group. If it's something that I do not agree with, I'm not doing it. Okay, see, that's a mature, because she's mature. She's not only an adult, but she's an adult and a mature adult. And she has a sense of self and knows who she is. That's a difference. There's a whole lot of adults our age walking around and they still don't know who they are. And they still not mature. So that's why she can be all right with not being a part of a group. I'm the same way. I ain't got to go along. I ain't got to be a part of a group just to say I'm a part of a group and do this, that, and the other. Let me give you another example. I recently, because of my job description, my contractual job right now, I'm working for the city hall. And so I speak to plenty of politicians and everything. So the head of the AKAs in that area called in and was taking care of business. The AKA organization, they do a lot for a lot of people. And they're doing so much and partnering with different people and different schools and stuff in the area where I'm working. And so got to talking with that district director or leader of the AKAs. She told me that for me, if I want to join the AKAs, to call her, and then she'll get me in. Now, on one part, that is really, really a wonderful, 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 wonderful opportunity. But I will have to do some research because as a Christian woman, I need to make sure that it does not go against my Christian beliefs with different things, that I'm not getting into something that is going to compromise my Christian belief and my Christian ethics. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've been having a little sinus cough, y'all, for the last few weeks. And I'm taking medicine, but it is what it is with the sinus cough. But and I'm looking at that. Now I need to do more research because I don't want to get a part of something and then later on feel like, this is not right for me, and then have to go through a de-initiation or whatever like this. So before I jump all the way in, because I know there's some people that would love to be a part of the AKA organization. And I'm not saying that it is not. When I say, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it was an honor to even be for that offer to be extended to me. But I just have to make sure that it's a good fit for me before I say, yes, I will be a part of the organization. So, it is, and somebody else, they would jump in with both feet, not researching or anything like that. I'm different. I don't have a lot of spare time or anything, but so I need to make sure that I'm able to fulfill my obligation and make sure that it does not compromise my Christian ethics and my Christian belief. That's what I'm saying. All right. So this week we talked about power versus authority and conformity. And we hit on some really good strategies and some really good things on this week. The bottom line is we all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. We all want to feel a part of something. But if you are getting into something, or you're getting into a relationship with somebody and your beliefs are starting to be compromised and things like that, and you're finding yourself conforming more towards something that you don't believe in, then you might have to pull your own self to the side and do a self-evaluation and say, is this worth it? Me losing myself, losing who I am, compromising my beliefs for just to be with somebody, or to be a part of this group, or to be in this position. Because this all conformity comes in a whole lot of different ways, or to get what I've always thought that I wanted. But when you get it, you find out it's not what you thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you another example. Years ago, I was on a tour overseas, and we were on the same bill with quite a few people, well-named artists who are still artists today and still functioning. And we were all doing our sound checks, and I can say who it was. It was Olita Adams. Oh my gosh, that woman is so talented. You can reach me by railways, and you can reach me by airways. I don't care how you get there, just get there if you can. She is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful artist. And so she was doing her sound checks, and she was playing and singing, and we was watching her. Went over and said, oh my gosh, I would love to be where you are as an artist, because at the time we were background artists, still very appreciative and grateful for the opportunity of even doing that. But that was the goal, to become an artist, a mainstream artist. And she looked over and she said, y'all are so young. And she said, you all, Alicia said, yes, please do your research. Yes. And she looked at us and said, y'all are so young. And she said, I want you all to be careful what you wish for, because sometimes, she said, a lot of times what people wish for, it doesn't turn out the way they think. And she said, this is not all cracked up the way you think it is, being a mainstream artist. She said, and a lot of times, a lot of mainstream artists find this out once they're in that position, and they wish that they can turn back the hands of time. So she said, make sure if you get in that position, make sure that it's beneficial and that it works out the way it's you desire it to work out. And whatever you do, she said, and whatever you do, don't lose yourself in the midst of it. And when I say, though, that wisdom nugget has always stuck with me, by Miss Olita Adams. Oh my gosh. And it made me rethink some things too. And when she said that, she never went into anything personal, which that was none of our business. But she did. She said, be careful what you wish for. She said, be careful what you wish for. And I tell you, to this day, I stand on that. Hey, Peaches, how are you? To this day, I stand on that. So I am way over time. Let's move on to this is my website, my takeaway. Let's open this up real quick. All right. The takeaway for tonight is to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. I'm going to say that again. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And that's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. All right. Now, our quote for tonight, this was our quote and our takeaway for Tuesday night as well. And it says, the opposite for courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow. I'm going to say that again. The opposite of courage is not cowardice, it's conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow. And that's by Jim Hightower. Let me open this up for my fellow theorists. And this is where I got my teachings from this week. All right. And I am going to do my quick service announcement. I don't know why my website disclaimer is down here. Okay. BetterUp.com. Create personal professional transformation through expert life coaching at www.betterup.com. If you're looking for a life coach, betterup.com. All right, Adda Plus Community, empowering adults with ADHD, ADD, and OCD to live their best lives. A different brain requires a different approach. www.addapluscommunity.com. All right, BetterHelp. If you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and family. www.betterhelp.com. And 988 Crisis Helpline, where help is available. Connect with people that you can trust. If you're struggling or if you know someone that's struggling, it's okay to share your feelings. The 988 Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people who are in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. The 988 Crisis Helpline, 24/7 free helpline. Learning RX. Connect with people that you can trust. I'm sorry, that's wrong. If you want to become a better learner and thinker, you might consider adult tutoring and brain training. All right. Thousands of adult clients have strengthened these skills with Learning RX, okay? And so the average graduate improved their IQ by at least 13 points during their time of brain training sessions and made significant gains in their skills like working memory, long-term memory, and attention. www.learningrx.com, adult tutoring and brain training. Learning RX have been in operation for over 30 years. I highly recommend Learning RX, not only for adults, but for children too. Peaches said amen, and she agrees. All right. Oh, and there was something else. Y'all, I'm so tired. I'm ready to move on. Oh, here we go. I forgot to advertise me. All right. So if there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae that you missed or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Then put in Counsel of the Day with Shanrae and select any past series that you'd like to watch or maybe even rewatch. Next is I'm a professional one-on-one counselor, so if you're interested in one-on-one counseling sessions, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, or you can contact me via my email at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. Thank you, guys. I will see you all next week. We are already next week on week 3. Guys, so again, we're talking about power versus authority. It will be a different subtopic next week, but this month is to get us to think about, our lives, not only what we're seeing on the news, but to think about our lives and how maybe if there's we find ourselves conforming in some type of negative way, how we can stop it, pull ourselves to the side, and kind of get back on track. All right, you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm so glad to be able to give back and to do my counseling online with you all every 3 months. Every 3 months, okay, for 1 month span, every Tuesday and Thursday nights from 9 p.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. You all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all next Tuesday. See y'all. Bye-bye.